Stop it, I'm busy. Oh, hi.
Hi. What are you doing?
My cat is sitting on our printer, making that cat sound they make when they're trying to hunt birds that are out of their reach. And I keep pulling his tail, and he
They make
keeps
that.
he's getting mad at me because I keep pulling his tail and distracting him from his murder plans.
You're the worst, Anne. The worst.
So he's like trying to keep his tail from me while he still, plots death.
And the question is, plots death for who? Oh, speaking of plotting death, look what T-shirt I'm wearing. I'm wearing the T-shirt you sent me for Christmas. It's the one that's a picture of a kitten that says "My little serial killer," because that's what they are. It was very interesting. I've been reading the outrage, the Facebook outrage posts about letting your house cat out, and then they kill birds, and then people get really upset because they're an invasive species that kills birds and stuff. And I'm like, sorry.
I keep telling to eat the sparrows because they're an invasive species too, but the sparrows are too smart.
Yeah, they are smart. I'm like, they're way smart. Oh, we had more fun this week with Rufus, the flying squirrel. He came. He was around all week this week, and he's just the cutest little guy. I keep trying to get pictures of him, but every time I get close enough to the feeder when he's in it, he just flies off and off he goes. I'm like, dang it! So, and he is he's officially Betty's nemesis now. That it's all. I think it's all she thinks about is that. I think that's honestly, and I think that's okay. If you're going to be obsessed with something, be obsessed with a flying squirrel. So
yeah, exactly.
I just hope that she doesn't actually kill the flying squirrel. No.
Well, he's really made it this far. I mean, I'm sure he was like around, when Betty was like, I love my cats, but they're kind of narrow. They have a narrow field of vision when it comes to, every once in like, as long as the squirrel doesn't get too cocky, he should be okay.
It's an excellent point.
The cat is just waiting for his 1 week moment. So they are persistent, nothing else.
They gotta stay frosty, if you will.
Exactly. Indeed. Remember, you're towards the bottom of the food chain. Never forget. You should be okay.
It's good advice. So, Anne, there's a big event happening tomorrow. There's actually 2 big events that are happening tomorrow. That's right. The most obvious one is the fact that tomorrow is December 21st, and at 4:42 a.m., we will experience the winter solstice. We will talk about that in a minute. But more importantly, I don't even know if important is the right word. More rarely, tomorrow we will be experiencing the height of this. Has actually been kind of going on for months. And if you've been paying attention to the skies, then you've sort of witnessed this happening. We're going to be, tomorrow is the sort of the apex of the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. So that's our big topic O conversation today. Oh, and I wish it was tonight because I think the clouds are going to hold off at least until later tonight so we could see it. But unfortunately, I don't know that we're going to get a chance to see it here in northwestern Wisconsin. So cross your fingers. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not positive here either. It's been cloudy, I don't know, for days and days, and I'm not sure it's going to let up tomorrow.
Right.
So we'll see. They're talking rain and snow here tomorrow, so I'm kind of doubting it.
Yeah, I don't know if you are, but the good news is this is one of those things where even if you don't get to see the apex of the conjunction, you can still really do some really cool sky watching here. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk about the conjunction today. I'm going to go ahead. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. That's what I meant to do, and I meant to do that. And there you go. And so what you're looking at here, this picture, you guys, is actually sort of what has been happening over the past, say, I'm going to say 2 months. And what we have is the smaller, in this picture, the smaller planets on the left, that's Saturn, and the larger planet on the right, that's Jupiter. And over the last several weeks, essentially what's been happening is these two have been slowly but surely kind of coming together. And then tomorrow, we're essentially going to have what's happening right down here at the bottom, which is where Jupiter and Saturn come together to form the elusive conjunction. So there you go. All right. There you go. So yes. All right. So with that said, give me 1 second. I got to turn the dryer off because it's bugging me. All right. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. And entertain the people.
Da 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 da. Yeah. So Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn conjunction. Remember that song from Schoolhouse Rock? Conjunction, junction, what's your function? I still don't know what the function is. That one was always a mystery to me. I preferred the noun one. That grasped right away.
Mine is interjection. That's my favorite one. Interjection. Just excitement. Yeah, exactly. So when you're happy, hooray, or sad, or excited, eek, or mad, rats. Yeah, that's my favorite. That's why to this day, rats is one of my favorite interjections because it just says it all. Rats. All right. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted by something shiny. All right. So let's talk about the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, and you might be going, the what? And essentially what it is, you guys, it's a fancy way of saying it's the point at which, and I'm going to go ahead and play this little graphic we got going on here. Hopefully you can see this okay. But it's a fancy way of saying the point at which Jupiter and Saturn are matched up within their own orbits. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here. And so if we are looking at this, you are, in no uncertain terms, you have to remember something about orbit size, okay? So again, the farther you are from the sun, the bigger your orbit is. So Jupiter is closer to the sun, so it moves essentially a little faster around its orbit than Saturn does. And I can't remember exactly what the numbers are. It's like 12 years for Jupiter, and I think it's 21 years for Saturn or something to that effect. But about every 20 years, what happens is that these two planets line up and essentially are moving in orbit together for just a little while. Okay, so that's what we're seeing right now is essentially what's happened is that Jupiter, as it loops in its orbit, it eventually catches up to Saturn and passes it. It essentially laps it. So we're at the point right now where Jupiter has caught up to Saturn and it's going to pass it and keep going. Okay, so that's what's happening to this point. So it's pretty exciting. Because it doesn't happen very often. You can see based on this graphic, if you're looking at the top right-hand corner of the little video here, it happens about every 20 years or so, okay? I'm going to jump ahead here. Let's go to the next slide. So if we're looking at it, if you're looking in the sky, and if you have been paying attention, as you can see, what we're looking at is we are essentially looking at these planet positions throughout the last two months, okay? Sorry, I'm drinking my bubbly and talking at the same time. What's cool about this, I'm going to go ahead and play this video down here at the bottom again, is this is kind of a rare, you can see how much faster, if we're looking at the video here, you can see how much faster Jupiter moves than Saturn when it comes to its orbit, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and stop it when we get to this place right about here, because if you look at the position of Jupiter versus Saturn, you can kind of see that happening within the sky here. All right. So here we are, slowly but surely, we're starting to see them come together. So we can just keep watching it. They get a little bit closer. There we are. We're probably now into November, a little closer. And eventually we're going to be, we're going to come to tomorrow. So we're at that point right now where these two planets, like if you go out tonight, and I think, I think Western Wisconsin, if you want to see this, you have to go tonight to watch it. You're not going to see the full conjunction, but I think because based on the weather forecast tomorrow, it's as close as you're going to get. So you're probably going to see something if you're looking at December 21st on this graphic right here, and you can kind of see it. It's going to look something like this tonight, maybe a little bit. You'll see Saturn a little bit to the left of Jupiter, and which is, again, extremely cool because you're still going to be seeing something that's rare because the way this conjunction normally happens, when it happens and we look up in the sky, the best look that we've had in a really long time, the two planets are about 1 degree apart. And if you're not quite sure what 1 degree is, it's the width of your pinky. So if you were to extend your arm out and look at the sky, the width of your pinky is 1 degree. And in past conjunctions, that's as good as it's gotten. Okay. So you see Saturn and Jupiter within 1 degree of each other, which is totally awesome because you don't get to see it very often. And we'll talk about why this one in particular is so cool. Again, this celestial phenomenon is cool because it doesn't happen very often, but the one that we're going to witness tomorrow is even cooler, and here's why. Because for whatever reason, just time, coincidence, positioning, physics, mostly physics, we're going to be in a much better position to view it. Because if you look at, I'm going to go ahead and run this animation again, because A, I really just like running animations because it's fun, and B, it basically says it all. So if we're looking at this, and here the planets are lining up, the thing that you really want to look at is where we are in the grand scheme of things. That's why this one is so much cooler, because of where we are positioned. So we are in a position right now where we are almost also completely lined up with Jupiter and Saturn. A lot of times when there's a conjunction, we are in a different place within our orbit, and we either can't see it at all because we're in the wrong position, in terms of which time of day it is, because we're going to be able to see this when it's dark, which does not always happen. The other thing that's really cool is our current position is going to put us in a place where Jupiter and Saturn will only be 1/10 of a degree apart instead of a full degree. So if you're looking at that, it means that if you're looking at it from Earth, 1/10 of a degree is about the width of a dime. If you were to extend that dime out and hold it into the sky, which is amazing because that doesn't happen. That's about a 1 in every 800-year occurrence. So you're talking about something that this is super rare and cool. And, I'm trying to think, what was 800 years ago? What was that? The 1200s? So
yeah, I was going to say, so then, you and I would have been burned for witches.
That's right, Ann. We would have noticed something that we shouldn't have. Women can't be noticing sciencey things. Come on, girl.
Oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you paying attention to that for? You must be witches.
Correct. So the beauty of this is that when you look into the sky tomorrow night, you're going to see what looks like a big ass star. Okay. And you're going to be like, it's a big ass star. I'm like, no, it's actually the conjunction, the co-joining, if you will, of the orbits of Jupiter and Saturn. Well, not in their orbits, but in their positions within their orbits. So and everybody's losing their mind this year because they're like, it's the Star of Bethlehem. I'm like, no, it's not. But you know what? If that makes you sleep better at night, then yes, it's the Star of Bethlehem. Okay. Whatever you need, and that's fine.
Again, Jenny, burned for witches because you said it wasn't the Star of Bethlehem.
I know. I'm gonna get. I'm like, I'm already in trouble. Sorry.
Sorry.
Dang it. So anyway, that's what's happening tomorrow night, and it's a really cool thing. And like I said, it's really rare and amazing. And again, we are kind of fortunate because I really believe that, as bad as and weird and freaky as 2020 has been, we've actually had some really interesting celestial things that have taken place this year. We've had really awesome lunar eclipse, or two, actually. We've had the Neowise comet, which was amazing. We've had a couple of really fantastic meteor showers, and now we are going to experience a phenomenon that people have not experienced in the past 800 years. So that's pretty good. In terms of, celestial events, we've had some really good ones this year. And, even though and the really cool part is that even if you miss the conjunction tomorrow, you will get to watch, because essentially what's going to happen, and we'll go back to this particular slide right here, you can see it, is that these two planets are essentially going to start to trade positions. So how we've watched them come together, now we're going to watch them slowly move apart again. And so you'll get to watch this really cool progression in reverse. So boom, which is, again, incredibly cool. So it is. And so that's something that you can appreciate and watch. And, and this is a good way to just, is you want to watch and get to know the sky and something cool and scientific-y. And, I love that. All right. So you might be wondering, where should I be looking at this? Well, if we look at our little digitized thingy-mabobber here, I guess the little video, this is kind of showing you where in the sky you're going to want to look. And where you're going to want to look is southwest. So you are going to position yourself looking at the southern sky, point yourself in the southwest direction, and you're looking low off the horizon, about 15 to 20 degrees off the horizon. And if you're not sure what that is, it's 3 fingers off the horizon. So this is about a degree. This is about 10 degrees. That's about 15 to 20 degrees. So you're looking about, and the thing is, if your skies are clear, you're not going to miss it because it's going to be the brightest thing in the sky. It's not going to be twinkling or anything like a star. So again, southwest, 15 to 20 degrees. Now, the rub for people in the north is that you are going to have to you're going to have to hustle. The sun sets, you know, for where am I? I'm in Dresser, Wisconsin. We're up a little bit above 45 degrees north latitude. The sun sets here at about I want to say about 4:30, 4:32 local time. What is that? Central Standard Time. So you're going to want to start looking within a half hour after sunset because you really only have about 16 to 90 minutes to watch it because it will start to set pretty soon. So you're going to have to look quick. The farther south you are, the longer you're going to have to be able to watch this phenomenon happening. You're not going to need to have it. You're not going to need a telescope or binoculars to see it, but your view is going to be more interesting if you have a telescope or binoculars, and especially as it gets darker, that view is going to get better and better. So, yeah, and like I said, it should be a pretty cool phenomenon if you get an opportunity to see it, in my opinion. So yeah. And as far as what else is happening, well, look, video animation. Sorry, I'm just super impressed with myself right now. My bad. Anyway, and by the way, and this is just pure coincidence, we also have the winter solstice going on tomorrow. So like I said, about 4:42. So by the time you get up in the morning, it will be officially winter in the northern hemisphere. And you know, your solstice means that it's based on our position in orbit relative to the sun in the northern hemisphere. We'll experience. And I hate it when people are like, "It's the longest day of the year." I'm like, nah, it's 24 hours. Just like every other day, but it's the day where we have the shortest amount of sunlight during the day. That's it. So the shortest duration of sunlight, and it just means essentially that the days are going to start getting longer because of this phenomenon. So if we look at this graphic right here, it all has to do with the fact that the Earth's is tilted on its axis at 23.5 degrees, and based on our position in our orbit around the sun, if the axis in the northern hemisphere is pointing towards the sun, we are experiencing summer. If our axis is pointed away from the sun, we are experiencing winter. So if we are looking at this particular globe on the left is essentially showing us at what point we'll be tomorrow. And then as we move through our orbit, when we get to the summer, eventually we'll be getting, and again, if you're not really sure what's going on there, it has to do with the amount of solar radiation that we receive and the sun angle that we receive it. So if you're looking at this, so this is where we are right now in terms of our position. Our axis is pointed away from the sun, which means in the northern hemisphere, the intensity of the sunlight that we get is spread out over a longer area. So we get less sunlight. We get it's not as intense. We don't have that same radiant energy as you had if you were closer to the southern hemisphere, especially the equator, where the sun angles are high, which means the sun is more intense. So
not enough sun.
No, not enough sun. So we got to celebrate it when we get some sunlight, and that's why Anne is here, because she's going to talk about why we celebrate winter solstice, because it is essentially our return to the sun. And yeah, we got a long way to go, but that's okay. So Anne, tell us a great way to celebrate the solstice.
Well, Jenny, once upon a time during the winter solstice, it was a time where they would light big bonfires. You know, it was the idea that, you know, the earth was dark and cold, and we needed to like bring the sun back. So it was like a way to scare off the winter and, you know, symbolize bringing back the spring and the summer. So it was kind of a pagan sort of thing. And of course, you know, then the Christians co-opted it and turned it into Christmas. Yay! But yeah, so this has always been celebrated because you know, it's the supposedly the darkest time of the year, you know, the time of hunger. Also, I'm not a big winter person at all. And people are like, well, you live in Michigan, because my husband lives here. Anyway, not a big not a big fan of winter.
I've heard that last week on the show too.
Exactly. I will say it all winter long. But So I can't be out in my garden. I can't be, it's like it's cold. It's hardly ever sunny here. And so somebody said this a few years ago and like, oh, you should make ice luminaries. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I could do that. And so I did a little experimentation. Now you can buy like kits online and stuff and buy all kinds of cool stuff. But I just figured it's just big ice cubes, right? I'm just making big ice cubes. I can make big ice cubes. So I, gathered what supplies I thought I needed. It's nice I use just big plastic containers, but you can use like pop bottles, and some people do balloons and have nice round ones. Mine are pretty basic, so I'm gonna bring like these are my basic containers. I have like, big container, less big container, smaller container, smallest container, that sort of thing. So, you just want to do what you want to do is you want to take maybe you want to make a big one. I have 2 big chest freezers because I'm not a big canning person. I mean, I make jam, but most of the time I just freeze all my vegetables. So I have big freezers. So I have a freezer that can hold these. So I take my big container and I take my next big container. You want to have it be fairly deep because you don't want it to, you want to make sure you have a deep well for your candle. You don't want the wind to blow it out because you're going to be lighting these like outside and leaving them outside. So that you want it deep enough so that the flame doesn't blow out, but not so deep that it doesn't get enough oxygen. And then I like to use tape to hold it in place. So I, take a piece of tape. I like the packing tape the best. It's nice and sturdy. And I take my container and I just kind of like, put it so it's kind of in the center, kind of center it a little bit. So you got some tape there. And then I just kind of balance it in the big container. And you might have to hold, just kind of tape it in place, kind of where you want to center it as much as you can. And then, so you have like, you got to hold it a little bit because it's not, the tape is basically there to make sure it doesn't bounce out once you put the water in, buoyancy. And then you fill the big container with water. Try not to get any water in the smaller container because it's a lot harder to get it out of the, once it's ice. So you fill the big container with water. The tape holds the little container in place. And then you stick it in your freezer. This one takes about 3 days to freeze all the way through. If you do smaller ones, because I have a smaller one that I do, this takes about 24 hours. Or you can do even smaller ones. I mean, you can do real tiny ones. You can make them into shot glasses and then, drink vodka while you, do your winter solstice thing. Now, when you're done after so many days, like I usually leave all of them in for 3 days. You need to get them out, which is easy. Just fill up a bucket or your sink with some warm-ish water and dump it in there and then just pull them out. And this is what you get. So I have my big one. So here's the big one. So you get these great big ice containers. See, it's got a nice deep well, so you put your candle in there. And then you have these lovely ice luminaries that you put outside in the evening, and you stick a candle in there, and it's really pretty, because you have all the fractures in the ice. It's really, really pretty. And then you can let it go all night because it's a candle encased in ice. What's it going to set on fire?
I got to witness this last year. I was around last year for putting out Anne's ice luminaries, and I got to tell you, they look amazing. It really is, and it's nice because if you do like the bag luminaries, those are fine. The problem with the bag luminaries is if it's a windy night, your bags start on fire, and that's bad. And what's nice about these is that even if it's a windy night, they're not going to start on fire because they're made of ice.
They're made of ice. And then we have like 2 stone pillars at the front of our driveway. And so we put them on the top of the pillars, the big ones and the little ones around it. So it looks really, really pretty. So these are what the big ones look like. And then I also have a little one. Sorry. So, you might want to gloves or something because these are really cold. So here's a smaller one, for like a little tea candle. So yeah, so they're just really pretty. They're super easy to make. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, I make Christmas cookies and I pass them out to people. I don't make Christmas cookies because I just eat them. But I will often make extra luminaries and then I'll deliver them to people. I'm like, hey, here's an ice luminary or several ice luminaries so that you can, celebrate the solstice. And it's just, It's pretty. It's a little bit magical because it looks kind of, it's like it's outside and it's cold and there's like this little flame going. It's just really, it's like a jack-o'-lantern only with ice. So if you like,
So,
that whole pumpkin thing, then you'll love this.
and would you mind when you put your luminaries out tomorrow? Would you mind taking some pictures of it, and then we'll put those pictures on the Brother Sisters page. We got a couple of comments. We got Jan Stoffer. Jan Stoffer is an art teacher, so this is right up your alley because you're super artsy, Jan. Yes, you do need to make these. Can I just freeze them outside? Talk to Jan about that?
Yes, you can freeze them outside. The only reason I usually do in my freezer is because sometimes Michigan can be a little inconsistent in the weather. Like today, it's 33 degrees, so it's not going to, and the sun just came out for some strange reason. But you can, if you have a really, like a stretch of cold weather where it's below 33 all the time, put them someplace shady outside and they'll freeze up. You might need a little extra time to make sure that they're nice and solid. Another thing that you want to do is like once you release them from the plastic, you want to put them back in the freezers or someplace cold for another 24 hours just so they can harden up again. But yes, no reason why you can't do this outside and let them. In fact, it'd be a great project for kids because they could, stick them outside and then they come back the next day and they're like, hey, look at this. I made this cool thing. And it does take them a while to melt. I mean, you leave them outside. I'll leave them out. I'll run these like until the end of we'll have them till the end of the new year. They'll slowly melt down, but they once the candle burns out, they freeze up again really nicely. So unlike pumpkins, you don't have like a collection of flies buzzing around it with a rotten pumpkin, in November. They just melt away. So,
and squirrels don't eat them either, so that's nice.
Squirrels don't eat them. And like I said, I like to do like whenever I do like little projects, I like to, what do I have? How can I make something that I have work? You can buy really nice kits that give you beautiful molds and how to make, like perfectly round ones. You can also stick like vegetation in between like the two containers and freeze the vegetation in there. That's really pretty too. So you can make these as simple or as intricate as you like, so that's the nice thing about it. You can do it with whatever you have or buy a really nice kit. In fact, it might be fun to like buy somebody a kit as a gift. I mean, that would be, I think, a fun thing too. So
that would be cool. Bruby, hey girl. Bruby, I could see you are also very creative, and I could see you doing a fantastic job of these as well. Oh, Aaliyah, I've been meaning to ask you, but since we're like kind of hit or miss at school right now, do you want to come on the show like, if not next weekend, the weekend after that, and talk about the stuff that you make because it's amazing. So if you're still with us, let me know because we would love to have you on.
Yeah.
Yes, but no, having seen Anne's ice luminaries, they're cool as can be, super cool, and a great way to celebrate the solstice. So, if you're interested, you guys, if you are if you're interested, let us know, and we will email you some instructions for how to do this yourself at home. We have the instructions right here, but let us know if you'd like more detailed instructions. We'll put Anne to work sending out instructions, or she'll just send them to me, and I'll send them out, whatever. All right, Ruby, yes, I'm available. That's my birthday. Next weekend is your birthday weekend, Ruby? Are you sure you want to come on? I mean, we'd love to have you on and toast your awesomeness.
We can drink prosecco and talk craft. Oh, that sounds so great.
Oh wow, listen to you. But we don't want to interrupt the festivities of your birthday weekend. If you've got big plans, then let us know that that doesn't work. But yeah, we'll definitely work on that. All right, Jeannie is with us. She said very pretty. Yes, very pretty indeed. So
very pretty. Yeah.
Yes,
and remember. Sometimes I talk to people like who aren't, they're like, oh, I've never done anything like that before. And they're worried about messing it up. You can't mess these up. You are literally making giant ice cubes. This is one of those things where it doesn't matter if it looks like, oh, well, it's not perfectly round or it's not perfectly level. It doesn't matter because, it looks beautiful. Once you've lit it and it's outside, the fractures in it, the oddness of the shape, that's what makes it look beautiful. So, yeah.
It's true.
No perfection. No perfection required.
All right, so Ruby's in for that following weekend, the weekend after Christmas, and she says she would love to drink prosecco and talk craft with us.
Yay!
I feel smarter already. Yeah, because I'm the world worst. If I'm not the worst craft person ever, I'm like next in line because I'm not crafty.
It's not true. It's not true. Jenny's very creative. She is very creative. I mean, you can't be a teacher, especially a science teacher, and not be super creative. So don't let her say that. She's just, my favorite medium is glitter glue. So what can I say?
Yeah. I did send out some Christmas cards this year with glitter on them. So
see?
Yeah.
There you go.
I know, I'm amazing. Okay, yeah, really, I don't have any plans either. I haven't left my house in like, I don't know, a year. I was just thinking that was literally the last time I saw my family was a year ago. Wow.
Yeah. I was saying that to Duncan. I said, I haven't seen my sister in a year.
Yeah. It's really great. It's amazing. I love this so much. Yeah.
I know,
well,
me
we
too.
still see each other like this. That's fun.
Right? I know, exactly. That's fun.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to see, do we have anything else we want to talk about? All right. The big takeaways from today are, number one, conjunction tomorrow. Well, technically, you could have been watching the conjunction kind of happen, because like most things, science takes a while. Since October, right. Actually a little bit. I've actually been watching these two planets since the summer. That's okay, whatever. Again, so that's the other thing. If you're going to watch this, the best place to look is look to the southwest. Start looking as it gets dark after sunset. If you're in the north, you've only got about 60 to 90 minutes to watch this. If it's cloudy, I'm sorry, but the good news is you can still watch this cool conjunction after the fact as the planets start to move away from each other. And again, tomorrow is the solstice. So again, the solstice, we know that the solstice happens because of the Earth's position relative to the sun and its orbit. And we know that with the axis pointed away from the sun, we get less of the solar energy, which makes it cooler and darker up here in the north. And right now, and that's why it's summer. Tomorrow is the first day of summer for those in the southern hemisphere. Good job, you guys. And if you need a fun way to celebrate the solstice, Anne has given us an awesome way to do that by making ice luminaries.
And again, all you're doing is science, taking liquid water and freezing it into solid water, liquid to a solid. Boom. There you go. Science for buoyancy. That's another thing too. If you're like doing it as an art class thing, talk about buoyancy, talk about the phases of matter, talk about the the removing of energy, that sort of thing. You could really science this thing up.
So essentially what you're saying, Anne, is this is a project-based learning thing, cross-curricular project-based learning.
That's exactly what it is. Can I have my teaching award now, please?
Yes, Anne, you can. I'll send it to you in the mail.
Thank you. Can I get my plaque? All right. So, yes. Jenny, we have very important news that we must tell people about Christmas Eve.
Yes. Okay. In case
you're tired of dealing with the people that are in your very house. Like Christmas Eve is just another day I got to spend with you.
Anne texted me some big information, and that big information is that Gerard Butler's movie, his A+B movie, because that's what Gerard Butler makes. He makes B movies. Greenland is now available on Prime Video on Demand. Now, some things that might turn you off. It is $20, but let's think of it this way, people. If you took your entire family to the movies, you would pay much more than $20 to see this B movie. Okay, now you only have to pay $20, and everybody in your family can watch this B movie. So Anne and I will be watching this movie together. I think it's called a watch party. We've never done that before. Anne and I will be doing a watch party with, which will be a fiasco all by itself, with Gerard Butler's Greenland on Christmas Eve. We don't know what time yet. We'll let you know. But and just think about it. You've saved money on Christmas presents, probably. You've saved money on travel this year, so you might as well spend some of that money by buying Gerard Butler's next bottle of scotch for him by spending $20 on this movie.
Plus, you can have your very own favorite snacks that won't cost you a fortune. And correct. I'm thinking about trying to find some Green Day swag. I would love, oh my gosh, I would love so much to find the Gerard Butler Green Day T-shirt.
I wonder if you could, I bet if you go on Amazon right now, you can probably find a Gerard Butler Greenland T-shirt, or a hat, or a big pin, or some sort of studio swag that they were going to use for their premiere night, but they didn't get to because there are no movie premieres right now. Right. That's exciting news. It really is. I'm excited. We've been waiting for this movie to come out for a long time. And I don't really understand, Anne, why we have such a fascination with Gerard Butler, but we both do. And I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
I don't either. I don't get it. But I sometimes I question my own motives, and I can't figure this one out. I just know I really like him, and his movies are just so cheesy and delicious that I can't help it.
That's it. I'm like, it's so I have nothing to think about or worry about as I mindlessly consume it.
Nope.
And it's just
It's good. It's good
never,
for living. So
does
so if
not
you're tired,
apologize. He's
right?
completely unapologetic.
And that's what I think I love about him. He's still getting a paycheck for this, and he's done well for himself. So if you're tired of Christmas movies, if you've watched Love Actually 8 times and you need something that's the opposite of Love Actually, then this is the movie for you. This is the opportunity for you to watch an awesome beat. And the good news is, not only we'll be watching this and sort of watch partying it, we'll probably come back with our own movie review after the fact, because why wouldn't you? You know,
why would you?
So yeah,
Duncan and I were watching because I really wanted to watch it last night so badly, but I don't want to pay for it twice. So I made Duncan watch the trailer with me again, and after I'm done, I was like, Duncan, can we just make a pact where we just die? I'm like, let's not try to get anywhere. Can we just die here?
Oh no, if there's some sort of like monstrous world-ending event, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, I am going to relax. I'm going to have a beer. I'm going to find some processed food that I love and eat that. Probably poofy Cheetos, and just be like, wow, this is it.
This is it.
It happens someday. I guess it's this. Oh, speaking of big events, and this is probably where I'm going to go get my snacks. The Quick Trip has opened in Osceola, Wisconsin. You guys, if you live in Osceola, near Osceola, around Osceola, you need to get to the Quick Trip because they've got some banging sales right now. For instance, you can get all of these delicious snacks and things at the Quick Trip. Look, you guys, meatballs, meals to go, chicken fingers, sandwiches, and some really good prices on cigarettes if you're into that sort of thing. So anyway, I know where I will be going to get my snacks. I will be going to get the Meat Tornado, which is it's on this page right here. Yeah, here they are, Tornadoes, which is it looks like an egg roll with like hot dogs in it. So yummy. Oh, Tracy Larson's watching. You're already in the car right now going there. You know what I'm talking about. It's up the hill. Go up the hill. Quick Trip. Meat Tornado.
That sounds like a really bad gay porn movie.
Yeah.
The newest gay bar in town, the Meat Tornado.
There you go. Jan Soffers is funny. I watched the trailer too, and all I could think of was stay put, get the wine, atta girl.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm not fighting this.
Yeah, exactly, Tracy. I was thinking the same thing, that now when I go to work, I'm going to have to, because I have to drive a little bit out of the way to get up the hill to go to the Quick Trip. But you know what? I don't care. I'm going. And Tracy, you're at the gym right now? Atta girl. I thought about going to the gym once. It was, and then I didn't.
It sounded catastrophic, so I decided to stay home.
That's right. So, but anyway, so much to look forward to. So we'll be seeing you a little bit earlier this week. We will see you Christmas Eve for that's right, the world premiere. Well, world premiere to us of Gerard Butler's Greenland, the newest in his series of crappy disaster picks. Yes. So, yes.
Can't wait.
I can't wait either. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us, and thanks for learning about A, the conjunction, B, the solstice, and C, how to make your solstice cheery and bright with ice luminaries, and D, the fact that you can now get the movie Greenland on Prime Video for only $19.99.
Only?
I know. Oh, and the Quick Trip opened in Osceola on Thursday. So there you go.
There you go. Exactly.
All right, you guys have a great week. Hopefully you're going to have a good holiday, and I think the weather is going to be, well, depending on if you want a white Christmas. I don't think we're having a white Christmas, northwestern Wisconsin. Sorry, but that's okay.
Yeah, not in this part of Michigan either. But
no, okay.
Like us, face us,
follow us, share us, like us. Just like us, okay?
Just like us.
Okay, I'm gonna put our brand back behind us. So do whatever it says to do on our brand thing, And you guys have a great week, and we will see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.